Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. So, anyway, so we are all here, and I believe Commissioner Lisa Porter has an excused absence. I think she's and our pledge is going to be led by Vice Chair. Okay. Please stand. Yes. You know what? Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Oh. I bet we don't have any public comments, right? No public comments.
I have none.
All right, and we have no presentations, right?
Correct.
Okay, we are on to the consent calendar. When do you come into play here? Part of the rec report?
He's an item.
Item 2. Didn't have your name on here. Okay, so has everyone had a chance to review our minutes from last month's meeting? Are there any corrections or additions?
I have a question related to just the characterization of Frank Chaco's comments. What he was reporting on was, as we typically have after a senior advisory board meeting, which is every 2 months, we have a representative of that board come and provide a report because the chair does not typically drive at night. Should that be under presentations as opposed to like a public comment?
I think what we have to do is check back and see how it was agendized. I think it was public comment.
Okay, because can we, that it becomes kind of a, which I asked for a couple meetings ago, kind of a formal thing like we do with the ACT group when school's on and things like that, because I was at the meeting that Frank reported on, and it was again this, I don't drive and this, and it was as stated to them, anybody on the board can come and give a report of a meeting. It doesn't have to be just the chair. That it be a kind of a standing presentation after our
Absolutely. We can make sure that it's agendized.
Okay.
Yeah, and we may have actually done it. We'll go back and look and see
all right.
This one.
Future then, yeah. Otherwise, I'd move for approval.
All right. Do I have a second? All right. Let's vote. How's that?
Is the board working tonight? Or it didn't work on Tuesday, so.
Okay, I just voted. Did we all vote? Are we good?
Yes?
Okay. Oh, yay. All right.
Cool.
On to item number 2.
Good evening, Madam Chair and council member or commissioners. Sorry, my Tuesday and my Thursday are blending.
Please.
Tonight, Community Services is proud to present one of our most creative staff members. Nick Gates, our senior rec supervisor, is here to show off our evolving and ever-changing special events throughout.
Thank you very much. Thank you, commissioners. Good night, or good evening here. It's been a long day. All right, so I have a presentation for you guys. This is going to cover kind of like our more recent special events, but some of the changes we've been trying to do to implement to kind of improve our special events for everybody. So some of the things we've been looking towards is strategically looking at each event and each aspect of each event that we do, trying to really improve the flow of participants. All the people coming to the events, I'm really against having long lines. Have everyone flow in, have fun, and move on quickly. We've been trying to increase the availability of restroom facilities. We've been renting extra portalets for all of our events, even at the sports park, because some people don't like to walk all the way to the rec center. Really increasing the safety for all of our participants. We definitely have first aid stations available at all of our events. And we've been working on improving our recycling and minimizing waste. If we don't need to use it, we're not going to make extra trash. And this is the Swing Kings. It was one of our concerts at the sports park this year. So our concerts in the park, if you guys have been to the sports park concert, you notice that the stage is in a new location, and When we moved it, we moved it right next to where the power outlet is, so we don't have to pay a lot of money to have a very long cord go all the way to the corner of the field. Now it just runs about 10 feet. And it's a lot safer because we don't have to have people walking over it or anything. No comment. Many of you probably came to our very first car show at the first concert, and that was a very big success. We've had a lot of people really excited about it, and it really expanded our concert. If we're going to spend money on one event, we might as well make it a bigger event. And we've had a lot of people want to actually start doing car shows at all of our concerts, but we're going to keep it just the one for now. Another change that we did this year is we've increased the number of bands. So instead of just 2 bands, we're doing 3 bands. We're doing a large variety of music. I feel like it's a lot more fun for the families and people who attend to get 3 different bands with a shorter set than having one band play for 2 hours, because after 2 hours, some bands do get a little old, tiresome. We've lengthened the show into the evening hours. Before, our shows just canceled right at sunset, so everybody had the sun in their eyes. Now that we actually get to go into the evening, and we have lighting on the stage, which makes it a lot more of a fun concert feel for the people who come. We've added a lot of food trucks to all of our events, so we're trying to get everybody something that they like, and we also have our staff cooking very affordable food as well. We try to hit everyone where it goes. We added pop-up tent zones, so now in the future you can have pop-up tents out in the very back, but not up front. And in the past they've kind of been scattered everywhere, and people like to complain about that. And we did shrink the size of the stage. I felt like the stage that we had been bringing in was pretty enormous for the type of concerts we were having, but by shrinking it, we were able to add the light show and add a lot of extras to make it a more fun and robust concert. There's a picture. It's a nice 56 Chevy Bel Air convertible. I thought that was a beautiful car. Now, we had 50 entries in our first car show. Movies in the park. I don't know if you guys have made it down to see our new movie screen, but it's 30 feet by 17 feet tall. It's monstrous. It's probably the largest city-owned movie screen in Orange County. I don't know of anyone that's bigger. We've also moved the location of our movie screen in front of the stage at the sports park on the Commons, which allows us to start the movie a little earlier because it blocks the sun coming down, and it also gives the crowd a real nice movie atmosphere. And we've really increased our social media advertisement. Our last movie, we had about 900 plus people show for Moana, which is a pretty large amount for a movie in the park. And I've also worked hard to maximize our sound system, where we have it mixed with subwoofers and other PA speakers, so you get a very movie-like atmosphere. So the families come down, they have a blast. And that's one of the cool things they get to see, is the big sunset behind the stage as we get ready for the movie. Bunny Blast, if you guys came by Bunny Blast, I know I saw a few of you there. You would have noticed that we spread it out throughout the whole park instead of a condensed area. This allowed for all the lines to spread out. There wasn't crisscross lines. There wasn't a lot of angry people. A lot more flow, and we were able to, make the event a lot bigger and a lot more family friendly. And then we added a lot of newer little things like the Bubble Man, which is a very affordable guy to come, but kids love the Bubble Guy. He had 30 or 40 kids around him the whole night or whole day. Dino Days. This year for Dino Days, based on last year's humongous popularity, we limited ticket sales to 2,000 per day. We decided to go with any of our vendors. We really asked them to be high speed when they are doing whatever they're doing. So if we have a face painter, we ask them to do a stencil. They're not going to sit and do a big dragon on a face. We want to get the kids in and out so parents aren't upset, and everybody's having a fun, good time. We did a new layout which increased the flow at Dino Days. So it was really I feel like a lot better than in previous years for all the people who did come to the event. We tried to maximize the use of all park areas. We incorporated every little zone you could and turned it into a big walking tour throughout the whole park. We added additional portalets for this event as well, because we had complaints last year that there weren't enough. We added additional food trucks, and I've also tried to pull away from our Jurassic Park theme and get more educational zones and reptile, dinosaur kind of zones, but also keep the Jurassic Park area. But the whole thing isn't just Jurassic Park. As you can see, we moved the T-Rex into the middle of the area there at the nature park, and he used to be located right at the entrance, and that would create a huge crowd, and it kind of bogged down the whole event. But by moving him out, it gave a lot better flow, and it allowed a lot more people to see him pop out and do all of this cool stuff he does. And then we have a few things coming up new for winter, that we're going to be doing movies in the park once per month, pending on the rain. We're hoping that there won't be any rain, but we're going to try to do winter-themed songs out on the commons. It might be cold, but we have all the stuff, and just to do a movie night, it costs us nothing, so we should just be doing them year-round. And I'm also working on starting up a Lake Forest Farmers Market at the sports park. Then we're going to hold it on Wednesdays from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., and we're going to try to start it in November or December, depending on when I have enough vendors lined up. Right now I have about 10 vendors, and I've only been Facebooking it for maybe a week or so. And then we're going to try to have a little bit of live music there as well, and I'm looking to engage the public and get a lot more people to the sports park that maybe have not been to the sports park, and also help out a lot of our local vendors with a place where they could sell their stuff. And that pretty much concludes my presentation. Is there any questions or anything?
That's fantastic.
Well, thank you.
I have a question for you. At what point does the amount of success you have reaches a point of saturation where it becomes more difficult to handle as far as implementing programs such as this? Do you draw some parameters around how much capacity makes sense before you exceeds your resources to support that number of people?
Yeah, well, every event is based on the experience I've had with it in the past. 2 years ago at Dino Days, we had 4,000 people per day, and that was just way too many people for the nature park. It was just way crowded, so we decided to cut it in half. And 2,000 people per day, it was a really good number. It was really, even though some of the lines were long, everybody did come out and they had a lot of fun, but I just base it off experience, and I try not to, I'm not looking to have the most people at an event. I'm looking to have the most quality event for the people who attend, and I do like to have them well attended, but I think you would all agree that you all want to have a great time at an event, and you don't want to feel like you're in a can of tuna and you're just like fighting.
Does it make sense in certain situations to sell bands from a capacity control standpoint?
That's what they did.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we did at Dino Days.
And Dino Days?
Yeah, we
But I'm looking at it for most of, not all of your other activities as well. Does that make sense, or is it dependent on the type of activity that you're doing?
Well, for like movies in the park and stuff, they're free, so we just let people come. But for Snowfest, Haunt, Autumn Harvest Festival, and Dino Days, we do pre-sales. So we do pre-sale the wristbands, and we do limit it so we can make sure it's a safe environment. But we do for our bigger events, per se. But the smaller ones, we kind of just let them happen.
Well, I guess it's a learning curve too, isn't it?
Definitely.
It's hard to anticipate everything until you experience it, but you make adjustments on the fly, so it's understandable.
No, definitely. You have to make adjustments. It's recreation. You're always adjusting to everything. Sometimes something doesn't work, and you got to figure out a different way to make it happen because the event's starting in 10 minutes, and you just got to get it done. So, but definitely, we're always learning from each event. I feel like we keep getting better and better. So,
Please. Excuse me. Talk to me a little bit more about the farmers market. What is your vendor type that you're looking for?
well, I'm looking for local vendors that, craftsmen, farmers, food. I've had a lot of people reach out that they make cookies or they make a honey butter. I'm looking for. I just want to make like a real cool community event because we really don't have a farmers market for the town. And I know we did at one point. They tried to up in Foothill Ranch at Town Center. It might be still. I don't know. But they only had like 6 vendors, and their Yelp reviews were pretty minimal. So I'd like to try to get
some,
30 30-plus vendors and just start it off with a bang and get it rolling and keep it going. And I think it'll be a really cool venue to maybe even bring, like the skate park could have a booth. We can get all of our community services. We can get a lot of information out. We can reach out to a lot of people that, if I'm coming to a farmer's market, I might not even know the sports park is here. And then you show up and you're like, oh my gosh, this place is amazing. And now I'm bringing my family.
I think in doing that, you're going to appeal to a whole different audience that typically, as you just said, may not be aware of some of the other events and facilities, recreation related, that the city does have. And the only kind of caution with it, and I'm sure you've thought of it too, is if you have, let's say, honey butter people, limited to one as opposed to them competing, 2 or 3 of them with a similar product.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because then nobody wins, 'cause they split the potential market.
That's definitely.
The movies in the park, again, looking at the numbers, and they've been unfortunately on nights when other things have taken a precedence, and I know Francisco likes Moana and Chasing Dory, and right. I'm into Shooter, and so when you have that one out for the adults, no. But I think the numbers have been phenomenal. And you just verbalized the 900 plus for Moana, and if I remember from the report, the previous one was 650.
Yeah, it was definitely a jump.
I can remember when our movies in the park were 30, and you tried to encourage them by having a prize or something, to come. But you've obviously got the equipment and the facility to do it at. Going back to the car show, huge hit. It was. Only thing that I got upset with, the guy with 56 Chevy left early because I really wanted to talk to the guys. 56, 57 convertible is on the bucket list. So, but I am thinking maybe, sure, a lot of people, car show, can you do this one? And then it gets stale. But maybe to have another feature of, and I'm not coming here with a list prepared, and I wish I was, have given it more thought, but just something in addition to the actual music part and the concert itself. Again, it makes it an event. It makes it much more of a destination than just coming for the one thing. And the other thing I liked with your look on food trucks and that is to have a variety, as opposed to we'll have the ice cream guy and one other food truck. And I think the people I've talked to have had very positive comments about that they have choices, and then eventually it becomes something that, again, event-related, that people know they don't have to pack a picnic, or they don't have to, some will, some want to, but others will know there's some good choices there. And pretty much this season, we've sampled at the concerts, and interesting enough, we've eaten from different vendors, and all of them had a very high quality of product, which is, again, an important thing.
Definitely.
So, I think, again, thank you for what you're doing. It's pretty right on, and I always like the idea when you find niches like winter, we typically don't do anything. And, there's elements we have to contend with, but there's winters in California, a lot of them where it's in the 80s. I mean, I've done Christmas at the beach in Southern California, so, again, I think that's great that we're offering something to our residents on a year-round basis.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jim.
Sure. All right, I just want to say I'm looking forward to the farmer's market. I'm just looking forward to everything. Let's just say that, okay? And I know you do a wonderful job, and I truly appreciate that. I was just thinking, as you were talking about, at work, on Tuesdays, we actually have a, quote, farmer's market out in our complex. I'll try and get some of their cards for you, if that's
Perfect.
okay.
Yeah,
Because I know, like, we have a tamale guy, we have a
yeah.
peanut guy. I don't know what all we have. Oh, we have, the one guy makes the best pizzas. Anyway, so I'll try and do that for you, and I've enjoyed everything, so good job. Keep it
Thank
up.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate it.
And thank staff, too.
I appreciate you all, too. You guys all help make everything happen.
All right, thank you. And I'm glad, at the movie nights, by the way, I love our new screen, offering some, like, hot dogs and stuff and popcorn. That is really such a nice little feature that we have that. So, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, all right.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Back on, sorry. We're up to, oh no, we've got a recreation report. There you go.
All right. Well, July started our wonderful summer, so we were jam-packed, as you know. Most of you have been to most of the events, but we'll start out the month right away with the 4th of July parade. Thank you all for attending and being there in support. As you know, we had 90 entries. We originally had 93 sign up. 3 dropped out at the last minute, but 90 were successfully there and happy and appreciative. I had this year, because we did have a new police services deputy who is in charge, who is our main contact, Jason McLennan. He was able to have his team do attendance. So based on their best guess, they saw between 10 and 11,000 people in attendance, which is great because it's actually a number that we can hold on to. We've kind of always guesstimated in the past, and I had police services go out and actually, kind of do their best estimate, which they're usually pretty good at doing, much better than myself. So he was pretty pleased with that group. We were definitely pleased with police services and PV maintenance. That's the new contract with Public Works, and they, both, the committee, John Irish, Lisa Tooley, and I were, a little bit challenged and gave them the challenge of this large job, and they took it and did such a wonderful job, and were able to open the streets earlier than they've ever opened them before. We've usually closed the streets and not reopened them until 2 o'clock, and we were able to reopen them at 12:30. So all in all, it was a very successful event. It's still on the city website, so if you haven't seen it, you can view it there. It's also on our YouTube channel. And we had our recognition on Tuesday as well at the city council meeting, so you can see who the winners were. We also had our family campout mid-July. We had 100 people registered like we did in the past. That always seems to have a waiting list, and it's such a well-attended campout that next year we'll probably bump up the numbers, because even though 100 sounds like a lot, even with tents and things like that, there was plenty of room. We could probably take 300. So we have new staff that we have on board, and they were in charge of that event, and they kind of came up with some new activities. And Loretta, I know that you attended it, but we had this group, Science Heads, who was a parade entry, and they actually came out with telescopes and were able to provide opportunities for kids and adults to view the stars and anything that they wanted to look at. It was they had it all. So they're going to be part of some more events for us in the future, because everybody was thrilled with them. We also did a lot of like water balloon tosses, a lot of different games, other than what we've done in the past. So everybody really seemed to have a good time. That was neat. And like Nick was talking about, the movies in the park, it's been going crazy. Every single movie, it's like it's outdoing the other. Like every time I come just to see how everybody's set up, what's going on, and it's like every time the crowd is getting larger and larger. It's unbelievable. So we have one more movie left, and then we'll close it out till the winter. But so far, so good. It's been a wonderful time with movies in the park. Special needs, the Funds with Stars and Stripes. I know we talked about that last meeting, but I just wanted to emphasize that we had 85 special needs guests. Most of which do not live in Lake Forest, but we enjoy having that event for everybody. Marilyn does such a wonderful job and looks forward to it, every time we have an event. So we have, a lot of the Marines that come out and assist with that, along with some of the staff from the skate park and the sports park. So it's a super sweet and cute event. Back to the skate park, Friday Fever, that's the one that they had in June, was actually the end of June, July, was a band accompanied with artists. So it was kind of a little bit different theme this time, where actually the band was playing and they had some local artists come out and display their art. So that was neat because some of the skaters did some of the artwork, some of the skaters are some of the band performers. So it's actually neat to see that they're more talented than just skating around the park. That was fun. We also had the Riverbed Cleanup. We were very busy. The Riverbed Cleanup, we didn't have quite as many as the other cleanup that we do in Elisa Creek, but this one had 25 participants. So still, we got a lot done and cleaned up quite a bit of that area right next to the skate park. It was very hot. So that's probably part of the problem. But even though we still had a lot of cleanup. That's always, fun for those kids that are right next to the skate park, that they participate as well with their families. Senior excursions, not to forget our favorite group of people. They went to the casino again. They love doing that. We had 46 seniors go to the casino, and they all had a good time. They also went to the San Joaquin Marsh and Wildlife, so they had a little tour there, along with San Juan Capistrano. And if you want to look at the calendar of events, we have some great upcoming last end of the summer type events. Next Friday, we have 2 different events going on, so you got to kind of spread yourself thin. But if you want to go to the skate park, we have one more Friday Fever. We have movies in the park with Beauty and the Beast, Francisco. I expect you to be singing there. And then Sunday is our last concert. It is a reggae concert. Please do not miss that. It's going to be over-the-top exciting. Common Sense is a very well-known reggae band, and there will be a huge following and a big attendance. So get there early and plant your chair. The end of the month, August 29th, Ronald Reagan Library excursion for those seniors. And then we get right back into our senior resource fair in September. But if you look at all the numbers, I was looking at the report as I was, reading this, and all of our numbers are really high. Like, we did a really good job this summer, and not to just say that because I work here, but it's amazing how much we've increased just, not just the movies in the park, but every single event, every single camp, every single special event. We're just continuing to grow, and that just shows the success that we're doing, and then staff, how well they're working together.
And just to build on that comment, showing how well staff is working together, we had a lot of turnover lately at the sports park in particular. We have a couple of new coordinators. We had a whole new group of recreation leaders come in. They all require training, right, to understand the programs, provide the customer service. For a lot of them, they're really young, so it's their first job. So Laura and Nick really did a great job with their team, I think, in imparting kind of what we're about.
That is the end of the report. Vicki is not here, as you can see, so I kind of took over for both of our areas, but feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to try to answer anything along the way.
I got a question.
Okay.
Turnover. Is that planned turnover, meaning you anticipate a certain percent of turnover that you plan for, or is this more unexpected?
Most of the turnover, it's because of their age. So a lot of times we'll get the teenagers that are in high school or early college years. So if we can get, our least expectation is a summer. If we can get some good summer staff, we're happy. If we can get somebody for 2 years, we're ecstatic, because that means they're they buy into the program. Just like myself, some people think that this is just a summer job and then it turns into a career. So we have a few of those, and luckily and fortunate enough to have some of those on our part-time coordinator level staff, hoping to move into a full-time position, if not here, somewhere else. So we got to prepare for that too, but those people are pretty vested with us, and they're the ones that we're now giving the responsibilities of some of our special events to. So we're kind of spreading those out to those people that we know that are capable of doing that. So it's not just all on Nick's shoulders or Bill's or Monique's. We're getting those people ready for their future, whether it's with us, hopefully, or out into another city. But they're more than capable, and these are the programs that you're seeing are done by these part-time coordinators.
I'd like to just make an add comment to your praises for Deputy McClellan. Having been through, I want to say, 15-plus parades where you've always tried to, either bend a rule or try to park where it's chartreuse instead of white or whatever. This guy is an absolute jewel. He does not have the typical I have a badge and I have a gun mentality, and I have handcuffs too. After I kill you, then I can truss you up. Matter of fact, I had an opportunity to speak with him just to kind of brief him, because it was his first shot on what the Marines were bringing up and things like that. And he stopped by about, I want to say 9:30 or 9:40, specifically to ask, which I thought was so cool, if everything had gone according to plan and were there any hiccups. And I said, no, I kind of looked at him and I said, no, it all went pretty good, except for the fact that one of your deputies denied the colonel access. And he looked at me, and it was like, you could see his eyes kind of cloud over, and I said, I'm just kidding. And he kind of started smiling. He says, now that was funny. That was really funny. And but I'll tell you another thing that I've known for a number of years too, is the person who picks up that position is working with people. It's not all Lake Forest Police Services. They're from everywhere and anywhere. Some of them are reserves, some of them are active, they don't even maybe know each other. But this year, all of them just seem to have a smile on their face, to put it that way. And as opposed to maybe some previous years where some were a little bit more stiff. And like I say, I think he did, a really, really good job. And it's a tough job to have to do it. So I hope he stays here for, a long time in many, many other parades. Just some of the other numbers, looking at the summer numbers, and it's been also, the numbers are great. And, the kudos to everybody that's involved. Programming, the thought process, the people who are executing it. And, again, I think as a city and what we offer, we have a lot to be proud of, because everything we offer is usually A or A+. We don't have a lot of things that are kind of sloppy and, don't really come together and whatever. So, from my standpoint, just as somebody who's lived in this city for a long time, it's a great job. And now you have a week to take off till the winter season starts, or the Labor Day week. It's kind of a quiet week, right? And then you guys can start all over. But again, everything you do is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Oh, okay. No, thank you for the report. I just want to comment. It's so nice that I love that you include pictures. I know you have forever, but now that I'm a working woman and I can't, it's nice to see my little senior citizen buddies, and of course I was here for the special needs dance, and it's nice to, it's like, oh, I remember I was there. We had so much fun. So thank you for that. It really makes it special, at least for me. Kind of like, oh yeah, I did that, or oh, look at how nice these are. Anyway, so thank you for that. Yeah, I think we're okay. That's all I have to say about the record part. But thank you. You've done an awesome job. Okay, so now director's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. I just have one item to report on. It's an update on, I'm going to call it Veterans Park. You may be aware, City Council voted to change the name from Village Pond Park to Veterans Park, and they asked staff to form a resident committee to design a veterans, some kind of monument. And we had our first meeting last night, and the direction that we had about 8 people on the committee, all veterans. And the direction that they're going is they're looking at sort of a combination of perhaps a monument, perhaps a water feature. We talked about displaying flags. We talked about uplighting. And what I'm getting at is these are design features. These are things that need to be designed by a professional park designer. So what I'm going to do is go back to the City Council on September 5th, and I'm going to basically request the funds to pay the designer to design these elements and integrate them into the design of the park. The timing is good. It would have been better if we had done this about a year ago, But it'll still work. The timing is good. We can get the park designer, who's obviously involved in the current renovation project, to work with the committee, sort of like a park design workshop, do a few meetings, develop a group consensus, and then we'll bring back that design to the city council and request funding for that. So that's where we are with that. We'll see what happens on the 5th. Other than that, the pond is probably about, I'd say it's about 50% drained now. Some of the interesting items we recovered from the pond include a cell phone, 2 skateboards, a Buddha statue, which I refer to as a religious artifact. We've had a couple of bowls, one of which looks like an Etruscan bowl from the 4th or 5th century. We've had numerous fishing lures, a wheelchair. That's it so far. I think that there's going to be more because not yet. Now, there are certain things that people have told me are in there that we haven't found. Someone told me that there was a motorcycle in there. We haven't found any firearms, bones, yeah. But we have, the middle of the pond is actually the really deep part, so we'll see probably more things in there.
I got a question for clarity. Is that cement lining in the pond itself, or is it mud based, or what exactly is the?
It's actually a vinyl lining.
Oh, it's a vinyl
and
lining.
It's hard to see because there's dirt over it.
Yeah. I was just curious.
Yeah.
All
That concludes my report.
right, very good.
Okay. You want to start? I mean, well, we're ready for comments. Are you ready? You want to have it? What?
You're always starting at that end.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're good. Oh.
You got to balance totally.
Oh, well, all right. So, Jim, are you ready with some comments for? Victor, you're shaking it up.
Actually, I would just request that the chairman, that someone make a motion and that their vote be taken.
I'll second that for discussion.
To agendize the discussion of changing the meeting time to 6:30. Okay.
Quite frankly, the change of time may also impact positively young folks to come by earlier. And from the standpoint with their parents for a variety of reasons that they want to be at the city council meeting. So since the council meetings, am I assuming the council meetings are ending earlier than before because of the 6:30 change?
We've only had 2 council meetings with the new time. The first one ended earlier. The one this week still ended about a little after 10 o'clock.
But again, it would have been closer
It
to
did-
11 if it had been 7.
Right. It just really depends on what's on the agenda for a
Well,
council meeting.
that supports my other point, is the fact that the meetings that we have are not as heavily agendized and earlier,
Right.
that we're going to start earlier. So I think there's a good argument to support that and also be consistent with the city council meetings at the same time. So certainly I'd like to put that, look forward to further discussion and consideration at our next meeting, if that's the case.
Jim, does that conclude your comments for now? Thank you. Victor?
Said for the past 5 years, following Commissioner Rosenberg is always a challenge, but I think I've learned to manage
Come on, man,
it
you
quite
can
well.
do it.
I know, it's hard to step up.
Get out of your tank and in the open air, okay?
Yes, the opportunity of talking with other veterans, this is the 15 or so years I've been living in the community, quite frankly, I haven't come in contact rarely with our veteran folks, because by nature, most people who are veterans don't say that to your face that they are veterans. The nature of the veteran attitude is very personal and would rather not talk about their experiences or even have you know that you're a veteran. I'm saying that as a general statement, but I think anyone who's a veteran will more than likely support that for the most part. On the other hand, when you're among your brethren, that all of us are veterans, so you have an opportunity of opening up, as it was the case last night, where I had a chance to get to know my table and became more of a social opportunity. And that's part of the reason that I really like to push for more opportunity for veterans to intermix with other veterans at some type of veteran theme activity, other than the typical twice a year, Memorial Day, Veterans Day. I kind of like the idea of tying it into a senior activity as part of what we're doing, but give it a very strong veteran theme with a number of activities that can be organized periodically through the year rather than on a special occasion. That would be very enriching, I believe, to the community, starting with our senior programs in particular, as a starting point. I know some communities name streets after, and some do this, do that. I don't think that's us as a community. I really think we want to get down to more of a personal level through some of our activities and allow the veteran to feel comfortable in interacting with whatever we decide to do, whether it be a senior dinner, dance, or entertainment. I don't care. When I was a kid, my father was a retired Marine. I remember going to the Marine balls and the celebrations, and there's something to be said about that. So a lot of the veterans that showed up, many of them are working, some are retired, a variety of interesting folks. So I encourage staff to take a hard look at that, to see if they can interweave some type of activity tied into your current curriculum, as far as the veteran is concerned.
Can I just
Sure.
make an add comment to that? Because I think you stated both what would be the great eventual solution, what we'd all like to do, and you opened your discussion on the subject by stating the big challenge that is out there. To an extent, as you know and I know, most veterans don't wear it on their coat. Big sign, "I'm a veteran," wearing a decoration, or something like that, or you see them every day in one of their service hats or whatever. The majority don't do that. There are a few that do. I can tell you also that working, obviously with the battalion, you would think that one of the most logical support avenues would come from veterans. Okay? Ain't the case. And even those that have somewhat gotten involved have gotten involved from a standpoint of a little bit of deja vu. Yeah, they remember when they did that, and what they did, and would there be an opportunity to go down and see some youngsters who are wearing the uniform now, that type of thing. And I think that's another reason you don't see it to any great extent in any of the neighboring cities either, to include cities that have adopted units. Dana Point has an adopted unit. Mission has, Aliso Viejo now does, and Laguna Niguel does, and Newport Beach does, and yada yada yada. Anaheim does. And having talked to people on those committees, that seems to be almost a universal problem, and a very hard challenge to overcome, is to how do you get this group kind of out of the shadows. Yeah, they remember, they're proud of what they did, but it's not something, it's a time that somewhat passed. I don't know if I'm expressing myself totally clear. Yeah, it'd be great if we could do something, but I know in our senior group we have a fair number of veterans, due to the Marine involvement. I've also had the opportunity to interact with Freedom Village, and I've got numbers. They have 270 residences in Freedom Village. 84 of them are occupied by veterans. Okay, that's a third. Besides one person who was very interested to get them to, quote, come out of the woodwork to do something, and using this, who's a fellow resident, as opposed to somebody who doesn't even live there or whatever. He's still trying to get to home plate, not even first base, in doing it. And he's a very well-spoken, very dignified career military gentleman. And so it's tough. And I just think we, try to open the door and on the right occasions honor their service. And there are, like you say, the two occasions are typically memorial and veterans. Otherwise, I don't know if it can be programmed like a recreation class, a dance class, a dance with, just for, let's say, veterans. And if somebody can come up with that, I'd like to have a shot of that, because I could use them then for other purposes as well. So I just think we can keep trying.
Well, I think it's something worth agendizing at the appropriate time.
Yeah,
if staff wants to come back and say, hey, we're thinking about X, Y, or Z, I think it's going to be kind of a try it and see what happens, and I don't think we have any way of knowing, but I think if we approach it correctly, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't get a response. I mean, certainly last night was a good example. It was a small group. But I think everyone enjoyed the camaraderie of getting together and for a common cause. So, for what it's worth. Moving right along then, in the city of Lake Forest, there was a new pet rescue coordinated tri-agency storefront that opened up around the corner from Lake Forest 1. I don't know if you were aware. I think you are. So I attended the one of the openings there, and we actually adopted a rescue dog that was part of that operation. Wasn't intending to. I mean, we lost one, a senior dog, and we were, waiting through the normal period of time. But one event led to another. You know how that happens. And before I knew it, I'm back to 3.
Yeah.
And one bird. I know this bird, a parrot. They live forever, right? And if you know anything about parrots, anybody have a parrot? I mean, every morning, we taught him to talk, and it was a big mistake. That's all he does is talk all day. But that's okay. We enjoy animals if you're into that, animals. But if some people have to devote the time for it, and they don't have the time. So that's a lifestyle right there. The Leadership Academy is starting their session coming up in September. I'm a big proponent. I think 3 of us have been through.
That was the first group ever.
And I encourage Francisco to seriously consider it. It's Wednesday night for about 5 or 6 weeks, and it gives you insights into the city. I don't have to sell you on the benefits of it, but if it's something that you have the time, I certainly encourage yourself, and we'll comment to Lisa to consider it. I think it starts mid-September. If I'm not mistaken, the 20th, I think. Did I guess right? On Wednesday, and it goes through into November, I think. But they limit it to so many slots. And so I think, how do you register for it? Is the city clerk that takes care of it?
The best, call the city clerk's office.
That's great. So certainly that's encouraging. Now, there's a senior activity that I'm signed up for. Both my wife and I are going to the luau. That I look forward to. Break out you're on you're waitlisted? Oh, you should pull some. Yeah, you can pull some rank here. No. Whose department is the luau? Is that yours?
No, that's a senior, so that would be
the seniors?
Vicky and Karen.
So it would be the Vicky side.
Right.
Okay. Right. And that's coming up on Friday. I wouldn't miss it. And your wait list. Well, you want me to see? You want me to see what I can do to help maybe get you on the top of the list?
Wait my turn. Like everyone's supposed to wait.
All right. Well.
It's good. I'll get it.
And anyone else on the commission that may want to consider coming, make an appearance, it's highly encouraged, of course. And that is the extent of my comments.
Yes, thank you. I noticed that Nick said that we were doing an increased push for social media advertising, and I just want to say I have noticed it, and I've been really excited about it. I've been seeing a lot of what he's been mentioning on my feed, and I think that's super cool, and we're going to be reaching a lot more people that way. So I'm really excited about that. Really thrilled about the farmers market coming. Found out about that through Facebook. So, yeah. And then I did go to the movie. Thought it was super fun, super cool. Love Moana. I was shocked how many people were there. I'm used to showing up, right as the movie starts, but apparently that's not the thing to do because I was basically in the parking lot. It was the only spot left. Right, the cheap seats. But, to the point of how well the sports park was designed, that place cleared in, 15 minutes. Everyone was gone, and there was no traffic jams getting out of there. It was intense. Yeah. And the staff was amazing. The movie ended. It's the end of the workday, and they're just, smiling and laughing and being super cordial with the people there. Saw them helping them throw their trash away. So I was just this is super cool. And looking at the quality of the events that we have, you'd think we were a huge city with these massive resources, and we're not. We're a medium-sized city with a limited budget, but it's it's amazing. So I'm proud to partake in that kind of stuff. And then I did notice as I was walking around some of the parks, some of those lights that I'm assuming are solar powered, like at the sports park around the track, some of those are out. So if I see things like that, who do I just tell Laura? Okay, cool. Then I will do that from now on. I've been taking pictures, so I have documentation of things. And I see some bricks getting loose, so just want to make sure the park stays as pretty as possible. That's right. Doing my job. Other than that, that's it. Thanks.
Can I just comment a question to staff? Typically, your maintenance folks will have normally a checklist of things that they look into. Is that correct? A formal procedure to verify if anything needs to be maintained?
Yes, the maintenance does, also our staff does.
And then as far as the lighting, is that typically checked periodically, or you wait till someone complains? And
That's probably checked more by maintenance, only because it's typically going to be off during the business hours when staff gets there.
But they should have, if that's the case, they should have caught it, right? If there was a lighting issue.
No, if it's. Do you want to?
Well, and sometimes because if a lift is required, they wait for a few lights to go out. I mean, unless it's like an emergency area, so they can't just.
So there's more lights.
Yeah, yeah. Especially like if it's something in the gym or if it's must go with the fields. Any of the uplighting like is a little bit easier from the ground
Rather
up, but
than a
from the
one or
top
two
down,
light thing. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
they may take a little bit longer to get fixed because it requires a little more manpower.
But usually it would be Public Works staff that would see that, or the contractor, because they're the ones that are there early in the morning when the lights are on.
So you don't necessarily get a report that, hey, there's a couple lights out, and
Not usually. If they're bringing in the lift to fix a bunch of lights, then they'll tell us so that we know.
but they're accountable in
Yeah,
terms of that.
Public Works,
So therefore,
absolutely.
they don't see a need to let you know in every little picky thing.
They only let us know if they're going to bring a lift out that might interfere with something.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that helps me understand how
Yeah.
it works.
My turn. All right. First of all, great job doing all the trophy handing out Tuesday night. Everybody loves to come, and I thought it was nice that you showed everything on the TV and everything. Let's see. Where am I? Okay. So in regards to I've asked for this before. Can we please get a couple senior scene of these over at the sports park? Aren't they? Because, for instance, like at Family Campout, I met this lovely retired couple, and Scott met them as well. And I thought that would have been nice because I know I showed them where all the brochures are, and of course there wasn't any of those. But it'd be nice for them to have picked one up so they know. Oh, they go quickly. Oh, maybe that's a good thing.
Keep behind the counter if people want it.
Are we talking here?
Upstairs. Upstairs.
Oh, yeah. But I'm asking to have them at the sports park as well. They go fast. Well, obviously they're very popular then. All right. So there you go. Okay. So now I got to switch pages. Okay. But in regards to you mentioned the family camp out, the science nerds were excellent. They were so good with size 1-year-old to 90, and we all got a chance to look at I loved it, by the way. So, and there was a little article in regards to Aliso Viejo. They do a stroll around Aliso Viejo, walk with the mayor, and I thought we could roll with our mayor. Anyway, something to consider, thinking about. It's only like an hour long is what Aliso Viejo does. Maybe anyway, I'm going to have you use your wonderful imaginations. I'm planting the seed for an idea there, okay? I love the movies in the park. Finding Dory and Moana. The crowds are all the families. They're like, and they're making it an event for them. I noticed a lot of them had their picnic dinners, and it was kind of like a nice family time for everybody. So I was so grateful for that. And I've kind of made it my mission this summer to check out what other cities are doing, because I know we do an awesome job, but it's nice to see what and so I've been going to a lot of events and concerts. Saddleback College does an excellent summer series in regards, like they did The Music Man, they did Shrek the Musical, and they also have their jazz band. And one of the great features is they have a gentleman, Shep Shepherd. He is 100 years old, and he still comes and performs with them. And I was thinking next year, hopefully Shep is still around, but even so, the jazz band is phenomenal because they have musicians that, work at Disneyland, but they still want to do this and give back to the community and all kinds of things. And they play an assortment of everything. Maybe next summer, you can contact member Dave. Dave used to be IVC Dave, now works at Saddleback College. Oh, Carol, help me out. Okay, you know.
What kind of audience is that?
That audience is all over the place. In regards to, well, like, are you talking about for the jazz band or what? I'm going to say it's seniors. And I was thinking maybe we could put together a little senior trip because, it's at night, so some of them might not drive.
It's not like a summer concert where you want some massive field.
No. It's out there at Saddleback College on the green area there, in between the buildings. They set up a big stage, and like for Music Man and Shrek, they have an orchestra there behind the scenes that perform, and they did a wonderful job. But I just thought, like, at least maybe for the jazz band, because they're playing a lot of music from the 40s, that our seniors would really enjoy that. And they also have food trucks. But I just thought, you don't have to make it a big hoorah, just a little, hey, we're doing this, meet here, we're going to take you up there, we'll take you back, boom. Just a little, but yeah, and then also I attended Vanguard University, did an excellent performance. It's a musical called The Beat Goes On, and it's they start with music from the 50s, and they give, obviously the music and the dances and the background, the historical background of what's going on at the time, all the way up to present day. And they're college kids, and they just kept going and going for like 3 hours. And that's another thing that I think the seniors would love. They do it every summer. And, if we could get another idea to look into for next summer, because the show was phenomenal. The gal I sat next to, she's come 3 times. She enjoys it so much. So there you go. I also went to Relay for Life because it was at the sports park. Also, National Night Out I thought was very good. I attended the pageant of the Masters, and I met, of all people, our own Planning Commissioner Robert. And what he and his wife do, and this is another idea for an event next summer for the seniors, is they have live performances from 5:30 to 7:30 every night. And it was great. He said they come every Wednesday because they happen to like the performers on Wednesday, but it's it's all week long. So it's another idea for another little trip for the seniors that they would probably enjoy. And they could also enjoy all the art without having to pay to go to the pageant. And it's not that expensive to go on the grounds, whatever. So it's another idea for you guys. Okay, so back to my concerts. I saw a Beatles tribute band at Fairview Park. They were very good. An Eagles tribute band at Miles Square Park. No Duh at Laguna Niguel. We've had them before, and they were really good. And my favorite so far has been a group called Tijuana Dogs. Oh, yeah, and I saw them in Newport. I had a chance to talk to them briefly, and they said, we have a following of probably 2,000 people. And I believe it because that place was packed. It started at 6. I was there at 4. It was already full, okay? And they play anything. Like, he usually he does a tribute to his grandparents. He does like a Frank Sinatra song, and then he takes everywhere from there on to Bruno Mars. And he's a phenomenal dancer. They're great musicians, and they're actually performing on next week, August 24th is it Bluff? What is that called? Bluff Park at Salt Creek Beach, from 6 to 8. So if anybody wants to go, I highly recommend it. They're very entertaining. I'm going. Anyway, so I just want to let you know that's a good band to think of because they are phenomenal. Like I said, and they've got a huge following. I love Flash Pants, by the way. I really did. Weren't we going to order T-shirts at some point? Shirts, yes. Okay. Just put it back on the list. How's that? Okay. And then a long time ago, I think Jim will remember, there was a group that came and wanted to put bird boxes in our, yeah, I think we call them the bluebird boxes. I'm just curious, how, are they still, are those people still around? I guess I could do a search. Just, you know, do they want to put one in the sports park? I don't know. But anyway, just thought we'd get that thought. And that was about it for me. I think that's a lot. I've had a busy summer, and so have you. And so thank you, everyone, for coming tonight, and keep up the great work, because you're doing a great job. All right? So I think I need, what do I need now? Thing to dismiss? Oh, I'm adjourning the meeting.